This video is sponsored by Advix. With over 30 years of OE expertise, Advix engineers and manufactures the aftermarket's most advanced, ultra-premium brake products. Visit advixaftermarket.com to learn more.
What makes one brand of brake fluid different from another? What do you say to your customers who tell you, just give me the cheapest one? They're all the same. Experienced counterpros know that not all replacement parts are the same, and that absolutely applies to brake fluid. Throughout this video series, we've talked about the critical role that brake fluid plays in the proper functioning of a vehicle's braking system. We've also talked about the most important characteristics of brake fluid, its wet and dry boiling points, and its viscosity. There's another way to explain this that might strike a chord with your customers who aren't necessarily interested in the inner workings of the braking system. To be sold in the United States, brake fluid needs to meet certain requirements established in the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. What your customers should keep in mind is that these are minimum standards. The majority of aftermarket manufacturers receive approval for their brake fluid based on the performance requirements in the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards for brake fluid, which are found in 49 CFR Part 571.116. Typically, it takes a minimum of 4 months to gain approval, and the manufacturer's cost is relatively inexpensive, around $30,000. But some choose to set the bar even higher and submit their brake fluid for official approval from an original equipment manufacturer or OEM. The OEMs have their own set of criteria for brake fluid that exceeds the minimum requirements of the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. The OEM might test the product themselves or use an accredited third-party lab to test it. It's a rigorous process that typically takes a minimum of 2 years for the brake fluid manufacturer to gain approval, and it can cost them upwards of $500,000 to do so. Advix has earned OEM approval for its new .3 and .4 LV ultra premium brake fluid. That's why the wet and dry boiling points for these products exceed the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards as well as competitive benchmarks. For example, the minimum federal requirements for the dry boiling point of .3 brake fluid is 401 degrees Fahrenheit. But Advix .3 brake fluid has a dry boiling point of 500 degrees Fahrenheit. The minimum federal requirement for the wet boiling point of .4 brake fluid is 311 degrees Fahrenheit. The wet boiling point of Advix .4 LV brake fluid is 355 degrees Fahrenheit. The higher the wet boiling point, the less likely it is that the brake fluid will boil under hot braking conditions, which means avoiding moisture and gas bubbles being introduced to the brake lines and hydraulics. Recommending an ultra premium brake fluid that's tested to OEM standards offers a number of advantages for your customers, including excellent material compatibility, corrosion protection of the braking system, and improved lubricity. And it gives your customers peace of mind that their brake fluid can stand up to the rigors of the braking process, so their vehicle's brakes will always come through when they need them. Thanks for watching.